On the final night in the house, George reported that Kathy levitated and slid off the bed, while George was kept awake all night by the sound of the children's bed slamming on the floors above him. The next day, the kids awoke traumatized, saying they were unable to move or leave their rooms. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Drip Podcast. Oh, my God. Things are falling off my desk. Good God. It's me and Scott. It's me and Scott this week. Hello. How are you, Scott?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good week.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you for joining me. Have we done... We did a one-on-one, didn't we?
What, podcast?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. I was going to say we've done it once.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're doing it again. Because we are committed. No, I mean, everyone's committed, but everyone's just busy. Bailey's actually joining us in about half an hour to an hour for the next episode. We're going to do 2 episodes tonight, but me and Scott were ready, so we thought, look, we'll just fucking crack on. And what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking at 4 of the probably most famous ghost imagery, looking at the stories, looking at the backstory, looking at the theories, one of which has been debunked, which will be really interesting to talk about because how it was debunked was quite cool. So yeah, and we'll just be giving our honest opinions on these images. Obviously, if you're listening, we'll do our best to describe them, but we'll also, give you the titles so you can just do a quick Google image search because, like I say, these are quite famous. Okay, so we're going to start off with probably the most famous ghost image ever, and I didn't realize until I was actually talking about this image with Maya 2 days ago. This is at Raynham Hall. This is the ghost of Raynham Hall, and obviously Raynham is where the RAF base is that we've been to a few times. And so we were literally round the corner from where this photo was allegedly taken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say it's a National Trust property or an English heritage or one of the kind of stately home kind of places.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible building. Raynham Hall in Raynham, Norfolk. And yeah, like I say, it's near the Raynham RAF base, which is obviously where we've had some spooky goings on as well. And I always remember, but I never got around to doing a video on it, which I'm absolutely gutted. After the second RAF Raynham video, I want to say, I got an email from a viewer. Don't know if she's still a viewer. She lived in one of the houses over or like across the field from the RAF base, and she said like how she always used to walk her dog over there and how she'd always see and hear weird shit. How I'm pretty sure she said her house was a bit haunted as well, and how that field always had just like more often than not a horrible hazy fog across it at night and stuff, which obviously I know fog does occur, but apparently it was very consistent and happened a lot. But yeah, she said like she'd always walk her dog near the building and would see some really weird shit out of the corner of her eye and hear stuff from inside. And obviously it could be people, but also, it does have a paranormal history because obviously Most Haunted did a live week there, didn't they?
They did, yeah. That was a weird thing because I don't think I knew about that till after you guys had been the first time.
Yeah.
I think when you went the first time, I then looked at the place. I was like, "Oh, Most Haunted!" Like they spent a full week. I think it was their live Halloween week special in like 2012 or something. And literally, they had the entire thing, and they just went around the entire place for a full week, just going in every kind of nook, crevice, and building.
Yeah.
Which was a really weird thing because it's just not the sort of. Obviously, it's a creepy place, but it's not the sort of place that in my head I expected them to have kind of, spent so much time at.
Yeah, I mean, spending an entire week somewhere is fucking wild. But they also had the luxury that we didn't have of they sent round security with like sniffer dogs and shit to make sure that no one was in any of the buildings, which
Yeah, then they had the perimeter, I think, guarded the entire time as well to stop anyone else coming
yeah.
back, which is the other concern. It's not so much it's not always the people that are in there that's the big concern. It's who might
Yeah.
turn up while you're in there.
Yeah, I mean, when me, Mara, and Bailey went over to that hospital near me and did a full sweep and a full video and stuff, and then Bailey on his way home, driving back past it, saw a load of people with a load of torches then trying to go in there. So had we have been in there maybe half an hour longer, we would have bumped into them, which might have been fine, but also might not have been. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's always the concern, I suppose, is you don't want to find out if they're friendly.
Yeah.
In case they're not.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so we have the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, one of the most famous ghost photographs of all time, originally taken for Country Life and first published in December of 1936. September 19th, 1936, Country Life photographers on assignment at Raynham Hall in Norfolk took what is probably history's most famous example of spirit photography. The ethereal, veiled form they captured gliding down the hall's main staircase is widely believed to be the fabled Brown Lady of Raynham, the ghost of Lady Dorothy Walpole, an 18th century mistress of the manor. Readers may be familiar with this image, but most will know that less than a year before it was taken, the incumbent lady of the house, Gladys Bowager Marchioness Townsend, published a book of true ghost stories. And she wrote, "I must confess I believe in ghosts, and I have for many years lived in a definitely haunted house." She was neither the first aristocratic homeowner to hold such beliefs, nor the first to write about them. 200 miles north of Raynham is Chillingham Castle in Northumberland, the former home of American-born Countess Leonora Tankerville. Lady Leonora began documenting spectral sightings at her 13th century home as early as 1895. In fact, her first supernatural experience of the aptly named Chillingham came in a dream months before she took up residence. In the dream, Lady Leonora's deceased brother-in-law, whom she had never met but recognized from photographs, greeted her at the gates of her soon-to-be home. When she finally visited the place in the flesh, she mused, "This is the second time I find myself approaching the gates of Chillingham Castle, but strangely, it's the first time I've actually been here." By 1925, she had amassed enough material to fill an entire guidebook. For both women, an interest in the supernatural was in keeping with the contemporary fashion for spiritualism, yet they had a special investment in ghosts, particularly the ones associated with their own homes. This was an age in which a pall of loss and decay hung over many formerly splendid residences, and for struggling owners, a haunted history was a way to stay connected to an illustrious past. I might as well just read it all. I nearly got there now. This is the countryfile.co.uk article, by the way. Its apogee in the 18th century, red brick Raynham Hall was renowned for its innovative architecture, lavish art collection, and powerful owner. Originally constructed in the early 1600s, the house was expanded a century later by the famed Palladian architect William Kent, under the direction of Charles II Viscount Townshend, then leader of the House of Lords. By the end of the 19th century, however, Raynham had fallen on hard times. A major agricultural depression combined with the spendthrift habits of its owners led to Raynham's fin de siècle downfall. I don't think there's anything else in this about the ghost, so I'm going to stop reading that. But yeah, so a little bit of history of the Raynham. But yeah, so apparently this image was taken and the spectral ghost was published in December of 1936. I just want to do a quick Google search because I'm sure, because I said me and Maya talked about this the other day.
So yeah,
I'm sure it's been debunked.
From what I am aware of off the bat on this one, I believe there were 2 people there when the photo was taken. One of
Right.
them was taking the photo, and the other one could see the ghost actually walking down the stairs.
Right.
And I think a paranormal investigator of the time interviewed them both and established that the only way they could, the only way, basically, the negatives of it were real. So
Right.
there actually was, the images themselves weren't faked, to my knowledge. And the only way it could have been was if the 2 were colluding to make a fake image.
Right. Okay.
But I don't know.
Well, I've got an independent article here that says the specter of Brown Lady will haunt us no more. This was written in 2006. In life, she was a notorious society beauty. Dorothy Walpole, sister of Sir Robert Walpole, Britain's first Prime Minister, scandalised Georgian society by having an affair with a penniless lord before marrying an older widower and dying, aged 40, in mysterious circumstances. But her infamy spread around the world in 1936, more than 200 years after her death, after allegedly being captured on film. So, 70 years later, after the picture was taken at Raynham Hall, a leading paranormal investigator has stumbled across evidence that it is fake. Alan Murdy, a barrister and also a researcher into the supernatural, found the evidence in a dusty folder in the manuscripts department of Cambridge University Library. The file details an exhaustive investigation into the phenomenon shortly after the image was taken, conducted by the Society of Physical Research. That doesn't say physical, that says psychical.
Psychical.
What the fuck is Society of Psychic? Is that like Psycha? Society of Psychical Research. It concluded that there is almost certainly a mundane explanation for the spectral image. The evidence includes the discovery that the camera may have leaked light onto the photographic plate. A descendant of Lady Walpole, the Honourable Jonathan Walpole, said even it wasn't his ancestor in the photo, she may well still be haunting the hall, even if it wasn't his ancestor. The father of one of my friends swore that she walked past him on the stairs once. Okay, so that's bollocks. So basically the debunk is that light might have leaked onto the thingy, but yeah, I mean, looking back at the picture, you can kind of, it almost looked like a hooded figure.
So I believe somebody did go to the location, or went to a similar location and tried to fake something
Right.
to try and disprove it.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find the... Yeah, so the magician John Booth, apparently,
Right.
who was a magician from quite a while ago, any point between 1912 and 2009. So,
okay.
Yeah,
Fair play.
I don't know when he actually did this little experiment, but
yeah,
apparently he said the photograph could be easily duplicated using natural methods. And he had magician Ron Wilson cover himself in a bedsheet and descend the grand staircase at the Magic Castle in Hollywood. And the image that came from that apparently looked very similar to the photo there, just using different types of exposure and things like that to make it look good. But yeah, there's nothing that I can see categorically saying it's fake, but obviously there's nothing saying it's categorically real.
Yeah. I mean, Country Life, I mean, I know they're massive. I don't know what they were like in 1936, but would they need to do this? I mean, I'm not being funny. You know, was there a lot of hype around spiritualism in 1936? It was definitely more of a Victorian thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big Victorian thing with seances and that. I believe, was it the Kennedy? No, some of the presidents had a seance room in the White House.
Yeah.
At varying points. So it was obviously big in America. I don't know what it was like over here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know we haven't read much, but I haven't read anything that would make me sway on it that it was definitely debunked. So
yeah, there's nothing to make
it remains spooky.
It's a cool picture.
It is a very cool picture. Okay, right. Let's go to the Goddard Squadron ghost photo. This one's really fucking cool and very fucking creepy. Basically, there's a big. It's almost like like a school photo where you have like your whole year there, where they're stood in like rows up a wall, if you like. And right on the back row, there seems to be someone stood behind the guy on the back row. And it's believed to be the ghost of Freddie Jackson. And Freddie Jackson was killed by a plane propeller 2 days before the photograph was taken. I believe this photograph was also taken on the day of his funeral. So on November 11th, 1918, when the armistice came into effect, a squadron portrait of the British Royal Air Force was taken at the HMS Daedalus training facility, or as it is more widely known, RNAS Leon Solent Airfield in South England. And something unusual was noticed after Flight Lieutenant Victor Goddard, the later Air Marshal and World War II commander, along with many other pictures, put it on a notice board to let the soldiers who wanted a copy of the image write their names below. So, if you look closely, as I said, on the top row, there seems to be a spectral gentleman behind the shoulder of one of the pilots. So the big issue was there was no one actually standing there in like, on the list of people in the rows. There wasn't supposed to be anyone. And they claim, people, that knew Freddie Jackson, claimed that the face was identical to that of Freddie Jackson, an air mechanic who died in an accident 2 days before the image was taken. He walked too close to an airplane propeller, and you don't want to do that. Obviously, it was accidental. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but fucking hell, mate, you're an engineer, a mechanic, an air mechanic. Stay away from them propellers when they're spinning.
You should probably know not to.
Yeah, absolutely. The funeral did take place on the day of the photo shoot. And the photo was published in 1975 in Goddard's book. So, apparently, the image has been examined thoroughly by experts, and the experts concluded that it was not manipulated. And it's important to emphasize that this photo is as official as possible. Like, it was literally taken, put on the notice board.
Released by the Air Force or the military, whoever it was.
So
there's no reason for them to fake it. It's like with Country Life from the previous one, you could argue a journalistic thing, so maybe they did it for a little bit of thing. But this one, there is no reason for them to fake anything with it.
No, there is some skepticism surrounding the negatives. Basically, if you compare the face of the supposed ghost and the soldier in front of it, apparently they align almost perfectly, which suggests it could just be a simple photo error. Really? Let me have a little look.
Well,
I don't think that's true at all.
The soldier at the
he's got a fucking hat on.
I was going to say, the face in the back's got a forehead. The one in the front does not. His hat covers his forehead.
That's just not true. That is categorically false. You can see his fucking widow's peak, for fuck's sake.
I'd also argue the faces are at different angles.
Yeah, that is copium, I think. For example, if you compare the face of the supposed ghost and the soldier in front, no, not even fucking close.
I don't see it myself.
And yet this says they align almost perfectly. No, they don't.
Disagree.
Yeah, it says here, on the other hand, the specter is clearly going bald while half of the soldier's forehead is covered by a service cap.
Yeah. I don't buy that in the slightest.
However, this is interesting. This doesn't necessarily discredit the photograph, but We must talk about Blake Smith, a journalist who tried to investigate the origins of the story but couldn't find any records of Freddie Jackson or the propeller incident. There was only a Frederick William Jackson who died of heart failure in an infirmary on October 30th, 1918, after being discharged in March of 1918. But then how could those soldiers recognize Freddie Jackson if he doesn't appear in historical records? The background story is a bit hazy overall, but the reputation of the photographer still gives the image credibility. So there we go.
Yeah, like you say, I don't see why the Air Force, if this was an official, an official photo from the Air Force, putting this in it feels like it would be risky.
Yeah, there's just no motive for that whatsoever. No.
But it is a cool picture.
It is very much so, and yeah, I don't... Fucking hell. See the guy... If you go all the way to the left, and then go down, the guy with so he's like middle row, all the way the furthest to the left. That looks identical to Vladimir Putin.
Where am I looking? Hang on.
The guy stood furthest to the left is like in the middle row.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
That's pretty mad.
Even down to like the coat.
Mr. Bean, bottom right. Not Mr. Bean, but the one Blackadder, whoever he plays.
Atkinson,
yeah. Yeah, a very, very famous photo. Always does the rounds on Halloween. The tweet I'm looking at, his was posted on Halloween of 2018.
Yeah, I like this kind of ghost photo.
Yeah, now the
something
next
in the background.
Yeah, the next one on the other hand, has this one been debunked? This is the Amityville, I think.
Yes.
The Amityville Ghost Boy.
I think this one is the one that has been...
Possibly John DeFeo. In 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed 6 family members in the house. The Lutz family moved in but fled after 28 days, claiming violent paranormal events. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren came in soon after. The photo was taken with infrared film by Gene Campbell, part of the Warrens team. It shows what looks like a little boy with glowing eyes peeking from a doorway. Yeah, there were no children in the house at the time.
Yeah, I think they went on to establish that this was a guy called Paul. Paul Bartz, who was a photographer used by the Warrens. It's one of these where I don't think it's been 100% debunked, but people that kind of knew them and knew kind of closely what happened think it was him.
Right.
But yeah.
What, think that's not a kid, that's actually the photographer?
Yeah. And he's just sticking his head out of the room. But yeah, it's a weird one because it does very much look like a ghost child.
Yeah. But to be fair, that could easily looking at the face. Obviously, you can't see like facial features as much, but that could easily just be an adult fucking kneeling.
Yeah. That is exactly what somebody says here, is that Paul Bartz was an investigator working with the Warrens and he was kneeling in the room and someone shouted his name, so he stuck his head out the door. Wow.
And then they developed the picture and like, fucking hell, that looks creepy. Let's just tell people it was a ghost. And then it just fucking went viral.
There is the chance that they were just taking pictures and he got caught like that by pure chance and it wasn't intended.
Yeah.
And they just didn't realise it was him at the time. But
what was the guy? What was the guy's name?
Paul Bartz.
I just want to see his face.
It's the face that's making me think it possibly is.
Paul Bartz.
Paul Bartz.
Bartz. Can't see a fucking picture of him.
So there's
which is handy for them.
2 I've got here. Where he's...
Interesting. I mean, yeah, it's entirely plausible.
Yeah, I think... Again,
very famous image.
Yeah, I think it probably is him. But there's also a solid chance it isn't.
Yeah, so just for the audio listeners, sorry, I just realised we didn't really describe it. It's the famous Amityville image where there's a head peeking around the corner and there's like a banister in the way. So it looks like a ghost peeking over a banister.
Yeah. It's a cool photo. The Amityville, kind of the entire Amityville thing, I'm unsure about.
Yeah, there's a lot of people have gone to great lengths to debunk the whole Amityville thing, haven't they?
Yeah, people are very insistent that the murders happened, the crimes happened, but the ghosts, there's no haunting there, which it's one of those places I'd love to investigate. And that is that
for
reason.
sure. Debunked Amityville. Amityville. Can't spell it. I just want to know how they fucking debunked it. The haunting story led to the best-selling book, a movie, but skeptics like Robert Bartholomew believe it was a hoax. The real horror of the Amityville story lies in the DeFeo murders, where Ronald DeFeo killed his family.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty mad if you think, like, if they did, just piggyback on the back of a fucking murder, a 6 people murder.
That's one thing that I always find a bit weird. The other one that I have a similar thing is the Villisca axe murder house and the Lizzie Borden house.
Yeah.
Because both of those, you tend to find a lot of paranormal people that go there always seem to solve the unsolved case.
Mm-hmm.
It's always kind of we spoke to the murderer and they told us exactly who they are. And it's like, okay, maybe you did, but I feel like the fact that the murders are kind of second now to the paranormal in some of those is a bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I also totally would do the same if we went there and caught a murderer telling us they did it.
Yeah, I know. You were like an Estes method or something.
Yeah, if we got a confession, it's like...
I'm trying to find just like a bit more information on where they've lied.
Yeah, it's a weird one because, again, I have also just been Googling and I can't find a lot either way. One thing that someone has pointed out, because I'm just reading a Reddit thread about that photo, is that if you look through the banister, you can see the shirt of the person.
Can you?
So if you look between the posts of the banister, apparently, you can see a checked shirt. And people are saying the checked shirt is too long to belong to a child.
Also more akin to like a...
More akin to an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kneeling.
Yeah.
So they claim that the really weird stuff started happening. They got a Catholic priest in to bless the house, and that is where things really went tits up. The priest sensed a sinister presence in one of the upstairs bedrooms and warned the Lutzes not to sleep in that room. Apparently, the priest felt a sharp slap on his face and heard a groaning scream, "Get out."
Brilliant.
Then really weird stuff started happening. Doors started slamming shut and open at all hours. Coldness in the house despite fires. Drops of gelatinous goo appearing on the walls and the carpet. Kathy transformed into a 90-year-old crone one night.
Sorry.
The face of a demon-eyed pig appeared in a bedroom window. On the final night in the house, George reported that Kathy levitated and slid off the bed, while George was kept awake all night by the sound of the children's bed slamming on the floors above him, flickering lights, and an unseen presence lurking in the room. The next day, the kids awoke traumatized, saying they were unable to move or leave their rooms. The Lutzes, terrified and exhausted, couldn't take it anymore, and on January the 14th, 1976, they left everything behind at 112 Ocean Avenue, never to return. So soon after they abandoned the house, they met with William Weber, the lawyer who represented Ronald DeFeo, the convicted killer. Weber, it turned out, was already shopping around the idea of a book about the DeFeo murders called Devil on My Back. So apparently he and the Lutzes had a creative brainstorming session over many bottles of wine. The Lutzes shared the story of the unsettling things they felt and saw at the house, and Weber shared details about the DeFeos and the killings that only he knew. Weber claimed that several of these details were spun into the book and the movie. So Weber told the Lutzes that a neighbor's cat would peer into the DeFeo's window at night. This became the red-eyed pig. Ronald DeFeo's father had once smacked his mother while she held a plate of red sauce spaghetti. That became the mysterious red goo on the wall that morphed into green slime, bubbling from keyholes. We took real-life incidents and transposed them, said Weber in 1988. In other words, it was a hoax. Weber and the Lutzes parted ways after a fight over how money from the book deal would be split. The Lutzes took their story to Jay Anson, a journalist and filmmaker who had made a short documentary on the making of The Exorcist. Anson listened to 35 hours of taped interviews with the Lutzes. Then he sat down and wrote the book. The best way to describe Jay Anson is a writer who didn't let the facts get in the way of a good story. It's funny, almost nobody ever says to me, hey, that book of yours is a bunch of bull. I didn't believe a word of it. Instead, they ask me if I think what the Lutzes told me is true, said Anson, and I answer them the same way I answered you when you asked the question. I tell them that I have no idea whether the book is true or not, but I'm sure that the Lutzes believe that what they told me to be true. The house itself, now with a different house number to discourage horror fans, has been sold at least 4 times since the murders, and none of the newer owners have reported seeing any psychic phenomena. It last sold in 2016 for $850,000. The house where the movie was filmed in 1979 has been completely renovated and is currently for sale for £1.7 million.
There's something mental to me about the idea of owning and living in the Amityville house while not wanting people to know it's the Amityville house.
Yeah, that is odd.
It's like buying the ancient Ram Inn and just moving in. And then anytime anyone turns up and goes, it's the ancient Ram Inn, you just have to go, no, it's not.
Yeah, please just leave me alone.
It's
This
just
is
my
my
house.
house.
It's just like, don't buy one of the most famous, potentially haunted / murder locations and then refuse to let people that are interested in that kind of know where it is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like when me and Maya were looking into buying that haunted property, The Cage, which if it wasn't for losing our first buyer's stamp duties, we would have got it, which is frustrating. Plus, it's a grade 2 list. It's just a fucking nightmare. But it was a beautiful building. No parking, though. Where was I going with that? What were you saying?
Talking about people buying something that's then not use it as the kind of haunted, famous landmark.
Yeah, no. So the estate agent, like the only reason that he took us seriously was because we came from so far away. I mean, we were about 2 hours away, but he said like he had so many people call up for a viewing, and it was just purely just to walk around a haunted house. They had no intention of buying the house.
That's what I'd have done. I'd just gone and been like, oh, let's look at this then.
But he said like we've had newspapers, TV crews and stuff all tried to contact us about getting in here to film documentaries and all sorts of stuff, but obviously we're not doing any of that, and that's up to the next homeowner, because like this woman bought it who was selling it, and she just bought it as a holiday home, nothing to do with the fact that, you know, the history of the cage and all that sort of stuff. So that, you know, there are people that do it, but I just think there's enough fucking property out there. Just why do you want to buy a historically haunted building?
Leave the niche.
Yeah.
Don't buy it to then erase the history of the building.
Yeah, it's like the Enfield house, like as if they fucking took that and just
Yeah, it's just someone's house now.
yeah.
And
It's
again, you get like arrested if you start trying to like ask questions about the ghosts in there.
yeah, I mean, well, yeah, because it boils down to harassment, doesn't
Well,
it?
yeah,
Because it's
true.
someone's house, but
True.
it's but then if they've not experienced anything, then you got a question like, is it bullshit?
Question the
Was it never
validity of it
haunted?
all along. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Just to go on a slight tangent, but it sticks with the Amityville house. Just because I've scrolled down on this article and it's all about crazy shit that happened on movie sets of haunted thingies. The Amityville Horror, 1979 and 2005. Events on the set of 1975 movie, The Amityville Horror, were almost as scary as what transpired in the real haunting on which the film was based. The first Amityville movie starred James Brolin and Margaret Kidder and was based on a true story. Brolin was not too keen on doing the movie and only accepted it after something strange happened. While reading the script one morning and getting to a scary section of the story, a pair of Brolin's pants suddenly fell off a hanger, causing the actor to literally jump out of his chair in fright. Okay, I mean, that's not too hectic, but this one's pretty mental. In 2005, this movie was remade with Ryan Reynolds, assuming the part originally played by Brolin. Just before starting the filming process, a dead body washed up on shore right by the movie set. Throughout filming of the movie, Reynolds, along with other members of the cast and crew, each kept waking up at 3:15 a.m. each morning. It just so happens that this was also the time that the real-life murders took place during the actual events of the Amityville Horror. Well, that's bloody
odd.
horrible,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we have one more picture, and this is the one that I said at the start that has been successfully debunked.
Brilliant.
So this is the Wem ghost, which is a little girl ghost of Wem Town Hall in like a burning building. So the burning town hall in Wem, England, you can see a ghostly girl standing in the doorway of the burning building. It's a very harrowing image, to be honest, because you've got a building on fire and you've got a little girl just stood in the doorway. So
and it's not like some of the other ones where it's kind of just a blurry shape.
Yeah,
this is you can see detail.
It is as if someone is stood there for sure. So the theory was that it could possibly be Jane Cherm, a girl who died in a town fire in 1677. So this photo is from 1995 when the town hall caught fire. Photographer Tony O'Rahilly took the photos of the blaze, and one image clearly shows a girl in old-fashioned clothing standing in a doorway. Now, of course, the photo went viral, and very interestingly, experts at first could find no signs of tampering. Well, that's very interesting when you find out the truth. It also makes you wonder how expert these experts are. Excuse me, I just need to cough. God damn it. So, lots of people speculated that it's this Jane Cherm who was connected to the original fire hundreds of years prior, returned in spirit form to another fire in the town. But it turned out that there was an eagle-eyed pensioner, right? 88-year-old postcard, put two and two together, got four, right? An 88-year-old postcard. So Brian Lear was looking through some postcards and he saw this girl and he was like, hang on a fucking minute. Basically, there is a street scene postcard from the 1920s taken in Wem, and it shows a similar looking girl to the one who appears in the photograph of the burning town hall. So when they're put, I mean, the girl in the postcard has like some sort of bonnet on or something, and you can kind of see that bonnet has been like blurred out and distorted by the smoke and stuff. There's literally no question that it's the girl from the postcard. And maybe, taking it from a postcard from the same town is where they most definitely fucked up, because I think if it was just some random girl on some random postcard not connected to the town, they would have gotten away with this. Because the fact that they found it on
the same girl.
It is 100%. They've literally someone's put them side by side. It's without a doubt the same person. So someone has lifted, and I mean they've done well. They've got like the dress behind like a metal grate and stuff. It would have taken a lot of fucking effort. But and I don't know who these experts were, but they were duped without a doubt, because it was most certainly tampered. So, yeah, postcard dating from 1922. Mr. Lear, a retired engineer from Shrewsbury, spotted the image when it was reproduced last week as part of a nostalgia item in a local newspaper. I was intrigued to find that she bore a striking likeness to the little girl featured as the Wem ghost. Her dress, bonnet, and ribbon appeared to be identical. In 1995, the ghost image created international headlines. There was local speculation that the girl was 14-year-old Jane Sherm, who accidentally started a disastrous fire in Wem in 1677. The cause of the 1995 fire remains a mystery. The photographer, Mr. O'Rahilly, died of a heart attack in 2005.
Convenient.
Yeah. Local councillor Peggy Carson, who knew him, said she believed the stress caused by interest in his picture contributed to his death. Local historian Tom Edwards, 69, said he always maintained that the picture was genuine, and I believe him. Photographic experts have suggested that the ghost image was a trick of the light caused by the fire. Shut up. However, However, Greg Hobson, the curator of photographs at the National Media Museum in Bradford, said the postcard offers pretty conclusive proof that this is a hoax. I think we can say the mystery has been solved without a doubt.
Yeah.
Do a quick Google search. You'll be able to see it.
Yeah. Fair play to the pensioner, though, who has seen this postcard and gone, hang on a fucking minute.
Isn't it?
Seen her before.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Putting those two together is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have been the case that he either had a special interest in it or maybe had just so happened to recently have looked at the photo of the little girl. And then been
I guess it is
it's
like a local history thing as well.
Yeah.
Where is Wem?
Wem.
Okay. It's kind of up north, Midlands.
But yeah, the stress of the photo. Maybe it's because he just did it as a little, a little joke, and then it got fucking national headlines.
Yeah.
Oh, bollocks. And then 10 years of that stress, his heart packed up.
Self-inflicted.
There you go. But yeah, that's just some famous photographs that we've delved into there. The last one was definitely debunked. The first one, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The country life, I'll say that's real. The Air Force, you can have that one as well.
Yeah. And
the Amityville ghost, no. You're not having that. You're a fucking photographer, Neil, and you bastard.
It's also the Warrens, which
yeah, questionable at best. Yeah, questionable
Good
at best.
Because I've now seen the films.
Have you?
Finally. Well, one of them, two of them. I don't know how many there are.
Excellent. Yeah, no, they are good films. Okay. Well, there we go. If you want us to do some more photos in the future, let us know. Email your stories in dudestories@gmail.com. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/dudeyrhino. All good fun stuff. And Scott, thank you again for joining us.
No worries.
And we will see you again next Sunday.
Yep.
Look forward to it. See you later, guys. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.